All right, let's dive into something really cool. We're going to talk about how we get a truly complete, non-stop picture of our entire planet. And it's a story that stars two incredible satellites working together to give us a view of Earth that, well, literally never blanks. So, let's get into it. So, here's the big question, right? We've all seen those stunning photos from space, but have you ever wondered what happens when half the planet is pitch black? Or when the one spot you need to see is covered in clouds for, like, weeks on end? How are you supposed to track something important like a flood if you can't even see the ground?
See, to really truly understand our planet, a single snapshot just isn't going to cut it. That's like trying to understand a whole movie by looking at just one frame. No way. We need to see the whole story unfold. We need constant observation.
And that brings us to this really key idea, Satellite Image Time Series, or SITS for short. The easiest way to think about it is like a planetary scale time-lapse video. We just keep taking picture after picture of the same spot, and by stringing them all together, we can watch processes like forests growing or cities expanding right before our eyes.
Okay, so let's meet the first hero of our story, Sentinel-2. This is the satellite that sees the world a lot like we do, in beautiful, vibrant color. The idea here is actually pretty simple. Sentinel-2 is what we call a passive sensor. That just means it works exactly like a camera. It doesn't create its own light, it just collects the sunlight that bounces off the Earth's surface. To see anything, it needs the sun. And what it sees is just incredible, because it's not just taking a normal photo. It sees in different bands of light, including stuff like near-infrared that our eyes can't. This lets us do some amazing things, like calculate something called NDVI, which is basically a cheat code for measuring how healthy plants are. It's fantastic for mapping out what kind of land is where and keeping an eye on deforestation. But, and this is a huge but, just like your camera, Sentinel-2 is completely, utterly blinded by clouds. And since it needs the sun, it's totally useless at night. So for places that are cloudy all the time, like in the tropics, you can get these massive gaps in your data. We're talking weeks where you just can't see a thing. So what do? How do we solve that problem? Well, we need a different kind of hero, and that's where Sentinel-1 comes in. It has a completely different way of seeing the world, one that doesn't need the sun at all. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. While Sentinel-2 is passive, just waiting for sunlight, Sentinel-1 is active. It doesn't wait for anybody. It makes its own light by sending out pulses of radar. And that means it can see day or night, rain or shine, and most importantly, it sees right through the clouds.
The technology it uses is called synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a bat using echolocation. The satellite sends out a little ping, a microwave signal, down to the ground, and then it carefully listens for the echo that bounces back. The timing and the strength of that echo paint a super detailed picture of the surface below.
And because it's listening to microwave echoes instead of looking at visible light, it tells us a completely different story about the Earth. SAR is incredibly good at seeing texture and structure. It can tell you how wet or dry soil is just based on the echo. It's so sensitive, it can even detect the ground moving just a tiny amount after an earthquake. It's just wild. So we have two amazing satellites. One that sees in gorgeous, detailed color, but is basically afraid of clouds, and another that sees texture and moisture, anytime, any place. Separately, they're awesome, but together, well, that's where the real magic begins. Okay, let's just come back to our main problem. We're trying to build that continuous time-lapse of Earth, but Sentinel-2's data is full of holes, thanks to clouds and nighttime. It makes it really, really hard to track changes accurately.
And this is the genius of the whole system. During those exact same cloudy moments when Sentinel-2 is blind, Sentinel-1 is flying right alongside it, capturing a perfect, consistent stream of radar data, completely unfazed by the bad weather.
So this is the aha moment. It's a process called data fusion. We take the crystal clear optical images from Sentinel-2 whenever we're lucky enough to get them. We take the super reliable all-weather radar data from Sentinel-1, which is always there, and then we use some seriously smart algorithms to fuse them together intelligently using the radar data to fill in the missing spots from the cloudy images. What you get is one seamless, complete, gap-free time series. Now, this isn't just a clever tech demo. Creating this complete picture of our planet has massive, real-world impacts that affect all of us. Let's take a look at what this unblinking vision really makes possible. For instance, imagine our hurricane is making landfall.
The whole area is covered by those thick storm clouds. An optical satellite would be totally blind. But with data fusion, emergency responders can see through the storm in near real time. They can map the full extent of the flooding as it's happening, which tells them exactly where to send rescue teams. This is a total game changer.
Now, what makes all these applications so powerful, and also so challenging, is the sheer complexity of the data we're working with. We're not just looking at a flat picture. We're analyzing data in 4 dimensions. You have the 2 spatial dimensions of the image, up/down, left/right. You have the spectral dimension, all the different bands of light and radar, and then you have that crucial 4th dimension, time.
And that brings up a huge question. We now have this absolute fire hose of complex, 4-dimensional data just pouring down from space. How on earth do you make sense of it all? A human analyst couldn't possibly look through it pixel by pixel.
And the answer, of course, is AI, specifically a field called deep learning. We use these incredibly sophisticated models, like the UNet architecture you see here, to do all the heavy lifting. You can think of it like a highly trained pattern recognition machine. We feed all the messy optical and radar data into one end, it does its magic in these complex middle layers, and out the other side comes a clean, classified map telling us this is a healthy crop, this is a new building, and this is a flooded area.
And it's not just me saying it. As one research paper puts it, deep learning methods are often deployed as they can analyze these complex relationships. They are the essential tool, the brain, that lets us turn this flood of raw data into actual, useful knowledge.
So, by combining the totally unique strengths of Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2, we've basically created a truly unblinking eye on our world. It gives us a continuous, all-weather stream of information that helps us manage our resources, respond to disasters, and understand our changing planet. Which leaves us with one pretty exciting thought. With this powerful new vision, what are we going to discover next?